Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's stark warning that the Japan-US alliance would crumble if Tokyo ignored a crisis over Taiwan is a reflection of how profoundly the strategic environment in East Asia has changed and how closely Japan now links its own security to the stability of the Taiwan Strait. Her remarks underscore a growing consensus within Japan's political and defense establishment that Taiwan is no longer a distant or abstract issue but a core national security concern with direct implications for Japan's sovereignty, economic survival, and alliance credibility. Geographically, Taiwan sits astride vital sea lanes through which much of Japan's energy imports and trade flow, meaning any conflict there would immediately threaten Japan's lifelines. Militarily, a Taiwan contingency could allow China to project power deeper into the Western Pacific, potentially surrounding Japan's southwestern islands, including Okinawa, where a significant portion of U.S. forces in Japan are stationed. Politically, Takaichi's statement signals that Tokyo sees alliance solidarity not as optional diplomacy but as a test of shared values, commitments, and deterrence credibility. If Japan were to remain passive in a Taiwan crisis, she suggests, it would not only undermine U.S. confidence in Japan as a reliable partner but also weaken the deterrent posture that has kept relative peace in the region for decades. The Japan-U.S. alliance has long been built on mutual defense obligations, strategic trust, and a shared vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific, and ignoring Taiwan at a moment of crisis would call into question whether Japan is prepared to shoulder the responsibilities that come with that alliance. Takaichi's warning also reflects domestic political shifts in Japan, where public debate has moved decisively toward recognizing the risks posed by China's growing military power and increasingly assertive behavior. Over the past decade, Japan has expanded its defense budget, reinterpreted constitutional constraints, and strengthened cooperation with the United States and other partners such as Australia and India, all with an eye toward regional contingencies that include Taiwan. In this context, remaining neutral or silent during a Taiwan crisis would appear inconsistent with Japan's own strategic trajectory and policy choices. Economically, Japan has deep ties with Taiwan, particularly in the semiconductor sector, which is critical to global supply chains and Japan's own high-tech industries. A conflict would have immediate and severe economic repercussions, reinforcing the idea that Japan cannot afford disengagement. Takaichi's language is also aimed at Beijing, serving as a deterrent message that Japan does not view Taiwan's security as separate from its own and that any attempt to change the status quo by force would face a coordinated response from allies. At the same time, her statement is directed inward, toward Japanese policymakers and the public, framing support for Taiwan not as reckless adventurism but as a necessary component of alliance management and national defense. The implication is that alliance credibility is a two-way street. Just as Japan expects the United States to defend it in a crisis, Washington expects Tokyo to stand firm on issues that are central to regional stability. Ignoring Taiwan, in this view, would invite doubts about Japan's resolve, potentially encouraging adversaries to test the alliance elsewhere, including around the Senkaku Islands. Takaichi's warning also reflects concern about alliance dynamics in Washington, where expectations of allied burden sharing have intensified amid global commitments and domestic political pressures. A Japan perceived as unwilling to act in a Taiwan crisis could face reduced U.S. commitment or influence in shaping alliance strategy, a risk Tokyo is keen to avoid. Ultimately, her statement encapsulates a broader strategic calculation, that the costs of engagement in a Taiwan contingency, while significant, are outweighed by the far greater costs of alliance erosion, regional instability, and diminished deterrence. By framing the issue in terms of alliance survival, Takaichi elevates Taiwan from a sensitive diplomatic topic to a defining test of Japan's role in the regional order, signaling that in Tokyo's view, the future of the Japan-US alliance and the balance of power in East Asia are inseparable from the fate of the Taiwan Strait.